Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. Coming at you from right smack dab in the middle of Ukraine. Thank you all for being here. And we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. This might be a little bit of a short stream. I'm supposed to get power back in an hour, but there's never any guarantees. Please forgive the beeping. I'm not in the hospital, and that is not your fire alarm running out of battery. That is my battery backup system. And please forgive the beeping. And I have no way to switch it off. That is not your and fire alarm running out of battery. That is now I need to my battery backup system. Give me a second. Wow, I've got an awesome echo now. Okay. Oh. Wow, I've got an awesome echo now. Okay. Echo stopped. Sorry, guys. All right. Well, I try to be professional here, but let's face it, I'm an amateur. So I want to thank you all for coming and let you know that I'm thankful for each of you who are watching this during the live stream or after, because it shows that you support Ukraine. And yeah, sometimes it's hard. This is kind of one of those days, you know, no power and all of that. Thank you, Isa Two Spirit. If you move the source of the echo closer to the mic, you'll get a beautiful feedback organ. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, that's gonna be the new nickname my wife has for it too. I think the feedback. Okay, all right, enough. Yeah. You know, you Leathercat, you make a very good point. You know, got to adapt to the goings on in the war zone. And it's an interesting point that I've been meaning to make, because some people have, you know, I mean, I'm not criticizing, but meaning well, but some people have come to me and said, hey, James, we can't figure out what's going on. Are we doing this? Are we supporting the drones? Or are we supporting, you know, trucks? Are we supporting the Alpha Company 1st Battalion? Are we supporting this other drone team? You know, and the answer is yes, because sadly, unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, we don't determine what's happening in this war. It's very far from us to do that. And so, you know, one week it's toilet paper, and the next week it's, you know, drones or whatever. And that's the position that we are in. You know, that's a position I'm in, and of course, we all want to, you know, get ahead of it. But as soon as we do that, it'll move on to something else, you know, and it's incredibly frustrating, but that is how it is. You know, we have a primary topic today, which you guys noticed, and I saw somebody waving their rainbow flags, and that's awesome. Thank you. But before we go to that, I wanted to take a moment to just follow up on yesterday, because Dr. Gerdes brought up this article in the Euromaidan press, and I wanted to rebut it just a little bit. Not really him exactly, but the article itself, because I've seen a lot of comments about this, both on YouTube and in different zones and whatnot, different platforms, I should say. And you know, some have questioned these graphs and where if you guys didn't see Professor Gerdes's video, he kind of brought up the same topic that I did yesterday about how much longer can Russia sustain this. And I looked at this article and I specifically chose not to show it because I think it gives a false impression. Okay. I think it gives a false impression that if we can just, hold on with the drip just a little bit longer to this critical point of the middle of 2025, that somehow Russia is going to, attenuate here, and they're going to run out of artillery and they're just going to stop. And I mean, I've wanted to believe that. Okay. And, here's a picture of a Russian tank yard with them running out of tanks, running out of operable tanks. And I don't know, I guess some of these are tanks that were blown up and they've got the turrets off. I don't know. This is their boneyard, scrapyard. Here's their tanks. The critical point for tanks, they've still got a lot more in store, according to this anyway. And Covert Cabal also has an analysis of, the tanks and artillery that are in storage versus active and how much more they can sustain. And of course, here's, armored infantry vehicles and infantry fighting vehicles, all of that. But I think this is the only critical one. The only thing that matters is how many actual people they have. And according to this, is a flat line, guys. This just continues on and on and on. It doesn't stop miraculously at 2029. Okay, this is the point where 2029 is predicted they'll have lost 10 million. It could go to 20 million. I used to believe that, and here's the other one, right? Their funding. It's not going to run out. It's not going to run out. And I think that we need to give up thinking, I used the wrong term there. We need to stop thinking that we can wear them down, because we can't. We're not going to. Instead, Zelensky had the right thing here. Zelensky demands bold decisions. Okay. I just want to show you this article, okay? Top Russian economist: Moscow can't maintain current levels of military spending for much longer. Look at the date of this article. 2015 here, okay? 2015, just to give you a sense. People were predicting in 2015, wars are won in the will, okay? And every time we see, a Russian turtle tank, and we think, oh my gosh, they're so desperate. Every time we see one of these, we think, oh my gosh, the Russians are so desperate, they're running out. No. We should not look at it that way anymore. We should look at it as they don't care. Their soldiers, will is not required for their soldiers. As long as the majority of the public is insulated from what's happening on the battlefield, as long as they have control of the truth within the country, they can keep on doing this ad infinitum. 50 million people, who knows? Here's how I would reckon it. If any of you have ever played a game like this, this is a game, I'm sure, I don't know, Cheryl, you probably haven't played StarCraft before, but here you go. It looks like this. You click, these are like your little minions, and they go around and they gather resources for you. And then you go and eventually you build up an army. And there's your buildup of the army. Oh, there it goes. There's the battle. And at what point do you lose this game? Okay. When you either A, completely, well, not even when you run out of resources, you can still keep playing. Okay. It's when every single one of your units gets destroyed, or you click game over, okay? And, Putin and his, cronies, the people who are in charge in Russia, care just as much about these soldiers in the turtle tanks as you or I would clicking on these little minions going around gathering resources for you. And so if let's just pretend that you're playing one of these video games. Okay, Cheryl, not you. But everyone else, okay, you're playing one of these video games, okay, where you're doing this stuff, and you have unlimited resources effectively. You can just keep on digging up more resources out of the ground. Okay. Now, here's the difference though. If Pyotr stops playing, he's going to die. He will literally die. He'll be killed. He can't stop playing the game now. Okay? And not only that, but he's not sitting in some uncomfortable office chair. He gets to go out and have sex with hookers or whatever he does, but he can't stop playing the game. He's completely disconnected from the lives of these little minions, just in the same way that you or I might be, doing this stuff. Okay? And so wars are won in the will, but whose will? As long as they control the truth and the media within Ukraine, it's only the will of the elites within Russia, largely Putin. So that's why I see this article as being ultimately deceptive. Because if they're willing to do this, then these critical points here don't matter. Because even as they are, their supplies of armor, their supplies of artillery is being attenuated, and they're going to run out. They're actively working on somewhere in Siberia, building more factories to do this. They're making deals with China and North Korea, okay, to keep on getting resources, just like you would if you were playing a game like this. If your base got invaded, you'd move over to some other part of the map and just start, building up more of these resources, taking more resources, and just keep on. They could chase you all around the map. Okay, it's exactly the same. So what is required here is overwhelming force. Okay, it's exactly what Zelensky says here. Bold decisions, overwhelming force is what is required. So that's just kind of the point that I wanted to make. And why this idea, and that we keep seeing these articles and videos and everything else about, Russia, a lot of stuff coming out of Great Britain, the British press especially, is about how terrible the Russian army is and how they're falling apart. And Elvin Archer, you licked the like. Thank you so much. And I just think that is, I understand why they're doing it, and it seems like the right thing, but ultimately we need to come to reality about this. And the sooner the better. Because they're still fighting. Look, in the Pokrovsky direction or zone or area. And remember, if you might recall, wow, my poor little computer is just slagging it. So here's Pokrovsk right here. Okay, this area, so it's near to Donetsk. And again, I want to make that emphasis. They cut this off here, and Chasiv Yar is going to have a rough time, and so is the whole Eastern Front, because it reduces the supply, the supply areas. So over 50 Russian attacks. I've seen some reports of more than 60. But at the same time, they're continuing to attack on all fronts, 7 directions from, I hate it that they say in 7 directions. It should be from 7 directions, but prepositions are a tough thing to teach, as I know well. So this, and you can look at Deep State Map and just see all the arrows there. And there is progress, as I was talking about earlier, and I was happy to see that reporting from Ukraine talked about this today. This area near Liman, in the Liman general area, I guess you would say. And so, that's one little, but it's just one little place. Okay. Again, wars are won in the will, and as long as the West keeps trickling, and I talked about yesterday about how okay, why Ukraine? Okay, my day just got improved by 100%. Okay, well that's good. I'm glad something good happening in your land, real Dave Seaman. That's good to know. So, with this in mind, I'd like to just thank all of you who have already contributed. I saw someone bought one of these, an entire one of these anti electronic warfare drone receivers today or yesterday. Also, I think $80 total is my last count on on what's it called, PayPal, for the raffle. And if you'd like to donate to the raffle for this guy who's kissing a cat to get a car or a truck rather, but a truck like this for his entire unit, this is the place to do it. And in exchange, somebody's gonna win this signed flag from the whole team. And then also we've got 10 or 12 postcards that have been written by the individual members of the Alpha Company of the 1st Battalion of the International Legion. Yeah, Mitch says, recall how hard a time the Orcs had getting out of Liman. Yeah. What was that, almost 2 years ago now, So if you're interested in supporting that, here is the QR code for the PayPal, or you can use the link below me there. So thank you very much for all of you for that. And you're right. This is a really important area because of the potential to create a cauldron in this area. And logistically, it's closer. It's closer geographically to most of Russia, the bulk of Russia. But the reason that they're able to attack so effectively down here is because they're right close to the city of Donetsk, and there's a lot of logistics lines going into the city of Donetsk, so it's much easier for them to attack the city. So, the same is true on the Ukraine side, up here in Kharkiv. So Kharkiv being a place where there's a lot of supplies, there's a lot of logistics, and so this is one reason, arguably, why Kharkiv has been able to successfully repel these ongoing assaults. But they're just going to keep coming and coming as long as we keep on sort of trickling down, I guess you could say. So Yeah, let's talk. I wanted to talk about LGBT in Ukraine because last weekend was Pride, and one of you mentioned it, Pride Parade in um, in Ukraine, in Kiev, and I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I will tell you that just on my personal experience, I think that, and I know I've talked about this before. Hello, Mary, by the way. Let me take a moment to welcome everybody. I see Mitch, Philippe, Leathercat, Let the Flag Fly for sure. Yeah, Real Dave Seaman, Anna, Mr. Squiggle, KK's GG. A lot of people here. Thank you so much. Cheryl, again, I've skipped a couple of people, but Matthias, it's great to see you. Thank you all for coming. Isa, of course. Oh, Bell Ogilvy. And it wasn't me and Leslie. The gang is all here. JPH. I just want to thank you all for coming. You know, you may not know that you're supporting Ukraine. You may not think about it. Oh, hey, Scott. But you are. You are supporting Ukraine just by being here. And it makes a difference. You know, it really does. And if you have just popped in, then apologies for my beeping. I have no power, at least for the next about 30 minutes, most likely. So I hope that you can tolerate it. And yeah, no power, no fan. It's a hot day here in Ukraine too. Hot and kind of muggy, you know. A lot like the Midwest in the summertime, to be honest, depending on which part of Ukraine you go to, you know. So yeah, let's talk about this. 70% of Ukrainians say LGBTQ people should have the same rights as any other citizen. And to be honest with you, now I must tell you that my wife is a lovely, cute, adorable person. But oh my gosh, did you guys hear that ding? I have my phone set to whenever anybody buys something on the Shopify website, I get a ding. So that's cool. I can't see what it is right now, but someone bought something. Thank you. That's cool. Oh, a raffle ticket. You just bought a raffle ticket. Wow. I wish I could buy more, just had to buy a new PC and motherboard. Yeah, I feel you. So, you know, I love my wife deeply, but she is, I would say, on the cusp of the generation. Anyone who's, yeah, my wife is watching. Anyone who's 40 or older here in Ukraine probably has generally a negative. You thought it was my microwave oven, KK's GG beeping. That is hilarious. No. God, that'd be funny though. But anyway, anyone who's older than 40, so in other words, they were raised up in the Soviet Union to some degree, has a negative view towards LGBT, towards gay, lesbian, transsexual, bisexual, all of that. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm definitely an ally. I'm like a 1 on the Kinsey scale. Sometimes I get my terms and my pronouns mixed up, and I apologize for that. I am of the older generation, and a lot of terms have changed. So I try to keep up, but I mean no harm. And so it's a very conformist society here, which of course is something that I don't like very much. But I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. In other words, I've fought conformity and conformism in America for all my life, and so the benefit I have here is if people want to talk shit about me, I can't understand what they're saying. um, but let's see. Cheryl, I was in high school theater, so half of my friends were gay. I was a dreaded thespian. That's funny. Yeah, thank you, Isa. I appreciate that. Those mishaps happen even among queer folk, and meaning no harm goes a long way. Thank you. I appreciate that. Be tolerant of me, of my mistakes. Speaking about my own personal life, I'm poly, or let's say I was poly. I'm retired now. But that is I feel very strongly that despite my little joke, that's it's not a choice that I made. It's something that I have been and kind of always was. And so I feel it very much when someone has, a nonconformist lifestyle, whether that's a sexuality or otherwise, and the problems that they face in society. Anna, wow, a schoolmate of mine was murdered because he's gay. I supported before, but now I'm in your face about it. Yeah. So for Miriam, the washing machine is ready. Yeah, it's ready a lot. It's ready a lot. But like I was saying, I grew up. A lot of people here in Ukraine. And I know I've said this before, but it bears talking about given the time frame of Pride Week and all of that. A lot of people here in Ukraine think that America or the West is like they literally. I've had Ukrainians come to me and say, "Is everybody getting pressured to be gay or to change their sex in America?" Because that's what they see on TV, not just from Russian propaganda. I must be washing for everyone in the Legion. That's funny. Yeah. And I have to explain. So I have to explain to Ukrainians that this sort of tolerance for LGBTQ in America, and I can't speak to Europe, obviously. It's pretty recent. It's been, in the last decade or two, really. And Ukraine is not that far behind. It's arguably, I would say Ukraine is a decade or two behind America in terms of that. Yeah, so I grew up being called gay a lot because that's just what young people, children, it seems, do, at least in America. And so I got called, all of the bad words associated with being gay so often that I really started to, not feel like I was gay, but feel for like I had somewhat of the experience, that LGBT people face. And secondly, my stepson identifies as a man, and has changed his name to Eli, but he is a mother of two daughters. His wife, I have to get that. Hang on, I have to get this straight because make sure I get this right. Okay, his wife identifies as a woman, and but was born biologically as a male. And together they have a wonderful family. Two beautiful daughters that they're doing an amazing job of raising, and those kids are perfectly normal in a good way. I mean, in the sense, there's nothing wrong with them. They're free, they're creative, relatively untraumatized, and they're doing a great job as parents, which is surprising to me because I didn't do a great job as a parent. And so I don't know where she's getting all these skills. It doesn't matter. Where they are getting all these skills. And as long as they are happy with their lifestyle, then great, fine, fantastic, no problem. And to be honest with you, that is the exact notion that everyone under 30 in Ukraine that I've spoken to has. And so, it's just this older generation. They were raised up in the Soviet Union, and I really think it's such even though they were a non-religious society, ostensibly non-religious, it was really just, it was like their duty to the state to reproduce is what it was, and so the state wanted them to make as many babies as possible. Kind of like in the Bible, God said, "Be fruitful and multiply," and he forgot to say when to stop. And that was the case in the Soviet Union. And so being gay or lesbian was a sin against the state, and so that's the point. Is that? But the next thing, the other thing I want to make a point of here is I want to look at an article. So this is an interesting article. More than 70% of Ukrainians. So this is an article from this week, and that so it's. Now, there is no gay marriage yet, but it has been proposed. It was shot down in 2018. But I think that after the war, it's gonna change. So 70% of Ukrainians believe the LGBTQ people should have the same rights as other citizens, representing a 3% increase from 2023. This sounds to me a lot like the early 2000s in America, late 1990s. The majority of respondents expressed indifference or negative personal attitudes towards LGBT people, and so majority is 47.3% expressed indifference and 32% negative. So there's 32% of people who, actively dislike LGBT. But their attitude, even of those people who actively dislike LGBT, like my wife, okay, their attitude is people can do whatever they want as long as I don't have to see it. That's their attitude, basically, which obviously I disagree with that as well. But that's not the same as we have to kill all the gays or whatever, which is the Russian attitude, okay? Civil partnerships has a long way to go yet. So 28% said they supported the idea, 35% said they would be opposed, 25% said they did not care. But this is interesting here. 68.3% respondents said they felt positively about the participation of LGBTQ soldiers in the defense against Russian aggression. And I think that is making a huge difference and is going to continue as this war goes along. Because, and I know some LGBTQ people who are fighting and have fought on the front line. Actually, kind of lost track of a few of them. I hope they're all right. But that needs to be said before I tell you that this Pride March that took place last Sunday only lasted about 10 minutes, according to this doesn't appear to have been reported here. And in the other Pride articles that I saw, I did not see it reported. That basically only lasted about 10 minutes, and then a bunch of apparently Pride, anti-gay thugs showed up, and the police were between the two crowds, but the police basically directed the Pride March into the subway, into the metro, to avoid the confrontation, which I think is absolutely wrong. They should have, obviously stood between, prevented the thugs from doing whatever they were going to do, and let the Pride March go ahead. So this is an important, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Yeah, there we go, Cheryl. A right sector fighter who basically said they do what they want in private, just don't flaunt it. I mean, that was exactly the primary state of mind. If you talk to the majority of Americans in like 1998 or something, that's probably the opinion you would have gotten. I'm pretty sure I remember polls from that time. Somebody used the Internet Wayback Machine. I'm sure we could find it. But it does remain to be said that it's not all roses and peaches. I don't know. Okay. It's an important thing to point out. But now here, this is an article from 2022. Yeah, right. 2022. The code here is just absolutely terrible. Yeah. So this is an article from 2022. No, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. 2016. 2016. That's the date I was looking for. Okay. February 2016. All right. And look at the statistics here. How do you feel about homosexual people? 42% definitely negatively. The orange there, that's rather negatively. And this kind of yellow, that's I don't care. So the positive people are in the single digits here. So think about how much change has taken place just in that time, in 8 years. That's a lot of change. And it really reminds me of America in the 2000s. Really. So, it's positive. It's positive change. There's still battles to be fought. This is just a website that I came across when I was looking up this article, and I thought it was pretty cool, where they are, through this really interesting, freedom is our tradition. Integrating the rainbow flag with the Vyshyvanka, I think, is really great symbolism. I think it's really awesome. So there's progress to be made, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So, I have to tell you that it's really hot in my house today. My computer is burning up because I don't have my fan, and I've got so many different things running. But I'll tell you, I know that there is we have who is it? Dylan Burns is coming up, right? It's a live stream with Rick the Ukrainian, and they start at 7:30 Kyiv time, so that's in about 45 minutes. They're really cool. So here, if you guys want to check them out, I don't know. You know what? Honestly, I would be willing to like order some of these and sell them, basically like drop ship them from my website, if you guys wanted to, because I think they're really cool. I don't know. I'll have to contact the group or something and find out how to do it, because I think it's a worthy cause, you know. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Rick the Ukrainian with Dylan Burns, and I think they have a 12-hour stream planned, or I can't remember. Oh, Rick said he would be late. Okay. Well, my power is supposed to come back on in 15 minutes, but they're almost always late, so I will be highly surprised, you know. So this is it. If I'm wandering a little bit today, it's because I didn't sleep very well last night, and I think this might have been why, or maybe that was last night. I guess this was I don't know. Something kept me up last night. It was probably more, you know, the thing is I don't hear the sirens when they go off. I wake up afterwards, because it takes me a while for those sirens go on and on and on. Leathercat, don't worry about money. You know, this website is not going anywhere. And, you know, when you have and you feel like it, hey, you know, it's there. Or tell other people about it. That's actually much more important, I think. You know, and that goes for all the fundraising we're doing here. One of the most important things you can do is, you know, if you want to help fundraise, I mean, it's great if you buy, you know, $5 for a ticket, you know, buy a antenna, buy a Wi-Fi receiver, all of that stuff. Just as powerful, though, is to share one of these links with a group, with someone that you know who wants to support Ukraine but doesn't know how. That's equally as powerful, I feel. So yeah, you know, the attacks just keep coming and coming. But I want to talk about. I posted on my community tab some videos that I'd like you guys to kind of take a look at. I'm literally going to give you homework. That's how much of a freaking teacher that I am. Oh, thank you, KKSGG. I meant to, but it's possible that I got distracted. So one of the first things I want to present to you and just ask you to watch. This is all about like, you know, Ukrainian history. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I've talked about this before, and I know like, and so there's this culture that existed like 7,000 years ago in Ukraine, okay? And they were arguably the first culture to have writing. They had cities, like small cities, but between 20 and 30,000 people, like at least 1,000 years before Sumer, much less Egypt. It gives you a sense of how old Ukraine and Ukrainian culture is, and its contribution, how much it's contributed to all of Europe. And this culture was essentially wiped out by, shocking, invaders from the East. So your history tends to repeat itself. But you know, these people, they had 2-story houses. They were really amazing. They were eventually, so this area, so was kind of the central, the area where I am right now was part of the Tripilia culture. And to be honest, there's been, you know, Tripilia finds far even to the east of here. But anyway, I just like to ask you guys to take a look at this video and really, let me see if I can find a picture. Yeah. the cities. They've excavated these cities, and they know what they basically look like, and they appear to have been basically non-hierarchical. Guys, Elvin Archer, guys, would any of you be interested in some Lord of the Rings autographs? I don't have much money, but would be happy to send to James for a raffle. What do you mean, Lord of the Rings autographs? Elvin Archer, what are you talking about? Please tell me more about this. All right. Elvin Archer, you have Lord of the Rings autographs of who? Like, did you just signed them and put Lord of the Rings on them? Or are you talking about like from the movie, or are you talking about Tolkien? Okay, all right, I'm getting off topic, but you better follow up on that one. Okay. Wow. Okay. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that Ukraine had an advanced civilization basically before anyone else, not just in Europe, but in the world. You know, yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. So, Mitch, pretty sure under the Black Sea, where the old shoreline was, is a big Tripilia city. Yeah, that's a thing that a lot of people don't know. Is that about 7,000 years ago? If you look at this map of the Black Sea, the darker portion here is more shallow. That's showing up on the satellite here, that darker portion, and it was actually dry land. And there was a sea level rise, possibly caused by a glacial lake or a tsunami or something, that actually caused a flood through the this strait here where Istanbul is, and over the course of, apparently they say, about 40 years, basically filled in the Black Sea. So basically it was a lake. It was a massive freshwater lake. And as a result, that's why it's called the Black Sea, is because the salt water that flowed in, so there's fresh water is underneath the salt water, I think is how it works. And there's not a lot of mixing in between. And so it's very low oxygen in this bottom half of the Black Sea. And occasionally even those low oxygen water will bubble up and kill everything in a given area. Yes, thank you, Mitch. Yeah, you're explaining it well. It used to be a freshwater lake. And yeah, there is a theory that, this might be where the ancient flood, or part of those myths of the flood, the biblical flood, and being so close to this existing culture, and also the Varna culture in Bulgaria. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, I just like to ask you guys it's a really good video. Take a look at it. There's other ones, but there's not a lot of Western research on this. Give me a second. My computer is really dogging. I'm going to close up some of my windows because I think my computer is going to catch fire here in a minute. I swear to God. I'm going to keep that one open, I think. So then there's another thing that I'd like you to take a look at. Let's take a look. So this video here that I shared with everyone, which, yes, here. You may have occasionally heard me talk about Nestor Makhno, okay? And I just like to ask you to watch that. Some of you who are asking me about my red and black flag, why I fly it, and it's related. It's really related to Nestor Makhno. So this is it's very interesting topic, and I'd like to be able to talk with you about it further. And again, I know I've brought it up before, but I hadn't found these videos that do a really good job explaining um, the early history of Ukraine in the 20th century. Oh, cool! I shared this one this morning on TAT Discord. Oh, Trident Skins Tyrants, of course. Yeah, Mitch. Underwater archaeology needs huge funding, expensive and difficult to do, but so much to find. Yeah, I agree. And my goal when this war is over is to start probably like a YouTube show, like Time Team in Great Britain. If any of you are from the UK or watch that on Netflix or anything, it's a great show about archaeology. I'd like to do something like that here in Ukraine. So it'd be like Time Team, but with mines. Thank you, Leathercat. The red and black flag is the battle flag of Ukraine. Goes back to the Cossacks, exactly, and can be traced even all the way back to the 1300s in the same way that the blue and the yellow. But Nestor Makhno is a very interesting person, and the anarchists, this is where people use this word anarchist, and they don't understand what an anarchist is. The anarchists in Ukraine controlled most of eastern Ukraine. So kind of this area around Zaporizhia, and actually their kind of their center area, their capital was Huliopole, I think that's how it's pronounced, right here. And they, hang on a second. Give me a second. I think that was my battery officially dying. So now I'm just on laptop battery. So, oh well. Anyway, so the point is, there's a whole history there here in Ukraine, and it's important to note that anarchism doesn't mean just anybody doing what they want to do, because that turns into despotism. Okay. The anarchism that Nestor Makhno supported really is about direct democracy. And it's important to note, and I think it's very interesting that in this particular video here, he talks about how Makhno started out. Here we go. And he talks about the Russian Civil War he talks about it from that perspective. But I want to, okay, I'm going to go shut off my battery because it's driving me crazy. Give me a second. It's even driving me nuts. Screw that. Yes, Mitch, I need more bigger batteries, and I need an inverter for the whole house. Maybe I should do a fundraiser for that. Right now, to be honest with you, getting these guys a truck is more important. Okay, but maybe after we finish that, then maybe if you guys feel like you want to help me out, that'd be great. But we'll deal with that when there's time. Anyway, the point being is, Nestor Makhno was in modern terms, we would call him a Bernie bro. He was a social democrat, but he was radicalized, because you have to understand that Russia, the Russian Empire, went basically directly from the Middle Ages to the modern world at the end of in the early 20th century. Effectively from 1905 until 1920, it was basically like 300 years of European history compressed into that time. Yeah. So I just found him. He's a Dutch dude, or Belgian. I can't remember. Dutch. I think he's Dutch. And does a really good job of explaining the very, very basics of true anarchism, and also Nestor Makhno himself. Just a really important thing. And it also shows this deep history of Ukrainians. You can talk about these guys. You can talk about the Ukrainian resistance in the 19th century. You can talk about the Cossacks, and you can go all the way back to the Tripilia culture. And that's why this statement here, freedom is our tradition, is really so important. Really so important. Mitch, are you saying Russia is out of the Middle Ages now? Yeah, it's questionable. Not their army, it would seem. Morally, I think they're pretty much. But so then there's another. He goes on to other topics that I think are extremely important, and I just like to encourage you to watch these other videos, especially this one about these two here about Ukrainian collaboration with Germany in World War II, and why some Ukrainians joined the Axis in World War II. And let's see if I can. Okay, ignore that guy. Yeah, I think this is the one that I want to share with you. Right about here. Oh my God. Oh, I have power again. It's amazing. It's shocking. Give me a second, guys. You get the joke? See, because it's shocking that I have electricity. Oh, why the people? Hey, what's going on? We were just talking about direct democracy, and Nestor Makhno, who's a pretty cool dude, arguably. Anyway, so the point is, there's a whole story about this, and it's a complex story. The reason I'm talking about it is because, one moment. The reason I'm talking about it is because I think it's important when you get these trolls or just normal people who say things like, well, aren't there a lot of Nazis in Ukraine, or weren't there Nazis in Ukraine in World War II? Weren't Ukrainian, all of that stuff. So I just want to share this one little thing that this professor has to say. So 4.5 million Ukrainians served and fought against the Nazis, fought against the Germans. Okay, 4.5 million. That's a big number, and the total number of people out of the something like 20 million people who died in the Soviet Union in World War II. I have read statistics that say that 40% of those were Ukrainians. So it's an important thing to remind ourselves of, and remember, when you are confronted by these the trolls like these, like the ones that I was speaking about last week on my in one of my shorts that went kind of viral. There was a ton. Anytime any of my shorts go viral, there's a ton of Russians who go in there and troll and troll and troll. And these are all translations of those. I actually make a record. I started making a record of these trolls because I somehow, for some reason, I think it's important. But they make 2 points in their trolling. Okay, either something like this: hero of Hitler's followers, Bandera and Shukevich, whoever the hell that is, or they say that all Ukrainians are gay. or that the West is making Ukrainians gay, you know, and it's so incredibly common. I just can't look at all of these trolls here. Just troll, you know, endless crap. Where they just say this over and over and over and over. And this, I believe that this actually, the and the fact that, you know, kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, is a reason, one reason behind the changing attitudes towards LGBTQ in Ukraine, right? Because Ukrainians, just like I, grew up being called gay over and over and over in a negative way, and they're like, well, I guess we know what it feels like now. Looks like I lost my internet for a little bit there. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Had a little bit of a jump. So it's very interesting. I really believe that that Russia's propaganda and constant trolling of you know, of Ukrainians is actually pushing Ukrainians into to be more tolerant, you know. So just arm yourself with knowledge. Okay, it's complex. It's a complex subject. Holy crap, the first time I read, I mean, you can just go on Wikipedia and read about this stuff too, you know. But it's nice if you can just do it while you're driving and you can listen to a video downloaded on your phone or something. It doesn't fit into a sound bite because there was just a lot of people fighting different people and what have you. There was the Russian Civil War and the Ukrainian Civil War. Basically, the Bolsheviks won the Russian Civil War, and then they subsequently invaded Ukraine. This is in the 1920s, and started attacking. So started getting involved in the Ukrainian Civil War, which was between Makhno, the anarchists, and the whites, who were basically monarchists. Elvin Archer, me too, James. I was a sea cadet here in the UK, so constantly got every gay sailor joke thrown at me. Yeah, just it gets old, you know. It gets old. Ask the trolls, do you enjoy watching Putin and Medvedev very intimate gym workout sessions? Yeah, you know, they just throw stuff back out and they don't listen. And a lot of them are actual bots anyway, you know. So that's pretty much what I have to say today. I think there's a couple of other things that I want to talk about that I want to show you guys. First of all, I want to show you guys this. So if you don't know what this is, that was beachgoers on the beach in Crimea, like yesterday, as these missiles are flying in to Crimea. This is how fundamentally, you remember earlier I was talking about how as long as Russia, the elite in Russia, can hide the truth, this war, hide the truth to the Russian people, this war will continue. And it just shows you how completely out of touch the Russians are. That they don't realize that they're actually vacationing in a war zone. They're completely surprised by this. Completely surprised. No clue. So their eyes have to be opened. And unfortunately, you know, if their eye, you know, we have to open their minds some kind of way. And there's two ways to open minds. You can open minds with facts, or you can do it with bullets. And this is just another article that I'd like to share with you from United 24 here. And so this is this gonna, can I make this go? No, cannot. Let's see if I can make it go big. Yeah, there we go. That's big enough. So, and I believe this is true. So this is coming from an article from Bloomberg, but I can just take it here. A wave of crime awaits Russia when the war against Ukraine ends. Russia sent so many men to invade Ukraine that the country's crime rate dropped shortly after the war began. But now their return has caused a new wave of crimes. And, that's one thing in a minor way that can make a difference. But to be honest, it's just a cycle. So the guys go back, they commit crimes, and they just get put back to the front until they die. And then only 10% of them live. Those 10% eventually make it back to civil life, and then they commit crimes, and because there's no support for them, and they come back to shattered lives, and so it's just an endless cycle of horror. Leathercat makes you wonder why LGBT hate is so rampant in Moscovia. Yeah. It's because, frankly, the state, continues to do the same thing that it did in the 20th century, in the Soviet Union, which is to, push their propaganda of hate. More strikes, deeper strikes, can make a difference. So this is important. Striking deeper into Moscovia, deeper into Russia, is a big deal, and will eventually have that effect. But as I said before, as I said earlier, this constant drip, drip, drip of, just enough for Ukraine to survive and no more. Unfortunately, this is where it ends. And this is in Kharkiv, and just endless civilian. They just don't care. They just don't care, and they're going to keep on doing it because they're so detached from what's going on. And by the time any Russian soldier realizes the horrible, awful truth, it's already too late for them. They're already on the front lines with guns aimed at their back. So just a couple last things that I want to leave you guys with. So this is pretty amazing news. Given, Elvin Archer, yeah, and that's the other thing, is they have a heavy influence on using rape as punishment in the army, as well as the prisons. Like I said, they have retained certain aspects of a medieval society. And in the meantime, Ukraine is second in Central and Eastern Europe by number of AI companies. Now, I'm sure a lot of these companies are dealing with drones, but remember, Ukraine for a long time, for many years, has been a center of outsourcing from IT companies in America and Silicon Valley. And, I had a hand in that in my time. Leathercat, yes, there is a legit biological and societal purpose for LGBTQ people in society. Deny them the ability to fulfill their purposes, death sentence to that society. I agree with you. Fully agree with you on that, and we can talk about the philosophy of that. But I absolutely agree. Let's see. So there is a shortage of qualified personnel, data scientists and machine learning engineers. But it says the most common professions among specialists are data scientists and machine learning engineers, which accounts for 63% of all specialists in the industry. 243 AI companies operating in Ukraine. Second highest after Poland in Central and Eastern Europe. I just like the term, and I've learned that the term Eastern Europe is a misnomer, because by measurement, okay, geographically speaking, I should go to Google Maps here. Geographically speaking, Ukraine is in the center of Europe, or at least part of Ukraine is. And let me show you why. Because Europe, everyone agrees, Europe starts with the Urals, which are over here. This green line here. Okay, so in fact, actually, part of Kazakhstan is in Europe, I guess. I guess you draw a line between the Urals and the Black Sea. I'm not really sure. But that's why Georgia, for example, wants to enter the EU. Because technically they are in Europe. But the center of Europe, geographically, is actually, let me see if I can find it here. It's a little town called like Dublin, and it's somewhere over here in the west of Ukraine. I'll find it at some point. The point is that this is Central Europe, okay, right here. So what we think of as Eastern Europe, which is like everything east of Berlin, is actually not. This is Central Europe right here. Eastern Europe, we might argue, is here. That's basically Russia and Belarus and maybe half of Ukraine. But it's time that we kind of revamp that thinking, because there is something to be put forward. I've seen some social theories emerging out of the 19th century that the idea of Eastern Europe versus Western Europe was really a 19th century idea to say that, like, genetically and culturally and socially, Western Europe is better than Eastern Europe. And it's something that's just an emerging thing, at least in my mind, that I didn't know about. So it's a continuation of that imperialism, actually, to think in those terms. Pretty interesting. And then the wars, exactly. And in the 20th century, the Warsaw Pact became synonymous with Eastern Europe. Yeah. And that was definitely something that, the Soviets continued, that concept, that idea. Right. So it's pretty awesome that like we were talking about yesterday, Ukraine with drones and with technology comes out the other end of this. Ukraine is going to be just an amazing powerhouse, and so the last thing I feel like I want to, second to last thing that I feel like I want to leave you guys with is, so this is my friend, and he is now, I'm not comfortable yet sharing his real name. He'd kind of have to give me direct permission, and I haven't asked. But I did ask him about sharing this video some time ago. So this was my trainer, my second trainer, arguably best trainer that I met. He was our squad leader in the barracks in the International Legion. He was our barracks mom, if you will. And dude, just an awesome dude. And he went and he served directly in the ZSU, rather, directly for the Ukrainian army. And now he is a trainer in the International Legion, training new recruits in the 4th Battalion. He injured his leg in Kupiansk. And if you guys remember Tony, who we helped send to battle, he served in the same brigade with Tony, served alongside Tony. What's funny about my friend is that when he first came to Ukraine, I don't know if you probably won't watch this. He said he wants to come on and do a live stream with me, but he kind of never does. When he first came to Ukraine, he was like really fat, like super duper fat. And he was trying to train. I mean, he did a good job. He was a really good trainer. But because he really cared. He really cared about all of us, And look at him now, though. Dude, the dude's stacked. So obviously he was injured. He had sustained a leg injury. Got hit by shrapnel, basically. And this is him visiting the cemetery of all of his friends who died from his brigade. And so it's really I don't know, I just think it's important to watch this. And that sucks. I need to delete that file. But so there you go. Just know that we're all. It's here. I don't know what the words. I don't have any words. It's in our face here every day, and it's not easy to deal with. And he called me the other night, and I can't say what we talked about, but he's doing good. He's doing really good, but I know he struggles. He struggles with this, and it's hard. So, your support makes a difference. And the last thing I'll leave you with, guys, is this article from Kharkiv. So these are now they graduate in 11th grade here. So you start college. 12th grade, what we would call 12th grade, is their first year of college. And so they had to have it, underground. And they did. They did the whole thing in like some kind of bomb shelter or something. But you can see in the background there, in these pictures, you can see that it's, some underground basement that they revamped and put some fancy lights up and, making the best out of it. Look at those parents. Freaking proud ass parents, man. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. So, I think these kids have a lot to be proud of. They can always tell their grandkids and say, you know what? I graduated underground in a bomb shelter in the middle of the war. You know? So this is the next generation, I guess. And never forget about it, you know, just like my friend in the graveyard. These are the times we live in, but each of you has a part to play, and each of you, to be honest, just by, as I said before, just by being here, just by listening, just by clicking like and subscribe and sharing, and, you know, supporting Ukraine, if it's my website or someone else's PayPal, whatever, in as you can, you know. And one thing, you know, I'd just like to say that, you know, I've got all this, someone called it my merch. and I don't like to think of it that way. I think of these items, I specifically chose them. I could be selling anything on my Shopify website. But what I'm trying to do here is choose items that you can wear publicly or display in your home, so that when people come over and visit you, or you're walking around the street, walking through the mall, or wherever you happen to be going, people will see that, and they'll see the blue and yellow, they'll see the trident, they'll see the magnet on your refrigerator or the pin on your lapel, and they'll say, oh, that person supports Ukraine. And hopefully they support Ukraine too, and they feel like they're a little bit less alone. And there's power in that. There's real power. And I just want to thank you all who have supported in whatever way you can, because knowing that we are together and we are united for Ukraine helps us and helps me through the despair. You know, listening to me talk through this power outage today, you know, makes me feel better every time. So, and yeah, Elvin Archer, you're right. If we don't support Ukraine, the war will become a lot closer to home. With the tiny size of UK forces, don't say how we could avoid the draft. Yeah. Damn, Cheryl, you've mentioned bumper stickers before. Okay. I've written it down before. I'm going to write it down again. Bumper sticker. Here. I'm gonna Google it right now so I have it on my computer. Buy Ukraine bumper sticker, and I'm going to find a supplier here in Ukraine. Oh yeah, look at that. On Rosetka. Fantastic. I'm sure some of these companies are Ukrainian, and I will put them on my website. Yes, Cheryl, exactly. In Arizona, cars are unavoidable. Bell Ogilvy, there are some great items on Etsy. Is there a way for you to get some of those to sell? Etsy doesn't operate in Ukraine, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and so I'm trying to source only things from Ukraine. But that doesn't mean that I would not consider that, Bell, because yeah, if there's something that's like people are making to support Ukraine, yeah, if you find the items like that, feel free to like send them to me on Discord. Oh, that's cool, Bill. You have a Ukrainian Trident sticker on my back window. Oh, you know what? Damn it! I didn't forget bumper stickers because check it out. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I swear to God, I'm going to be done after this. Check it out what I found. I'm going to put these, look, on the website. That's UA, not AU. I know it's backwards. But I'm going to put these on the website so that people can buy them. But I'm also going to find other bumper stickers too. but these are meant to go in the car window. So, yeah, Bill, that would be great if you could do some research on Ukrainian selling on Etsy. Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be rocking. Okay, guys, thank you all so much for coming, and go watch Rick the Ukrainian with Dylan Burns. I'm sure it's going to be rad. It's probably going to be the best 12 hours of your life. Anyway, Leslie, thank you for asking. Video for Twitter. I have already asked. So these guys, okay, they are going to be making a video, like a selfie video, something like that. And I expect it very soon. So, magnetic bumper stickers. Yeah, that's a great one. I love magnetic bumper stickers. Okay, I'll leave you with one last story about magnetic bumper stickers. So I had a car in 2015 in Arizona, and I bought it from a gay guy. It was a Mazda Miata. And it was awesome. I have a picture of it here somewhere. But it had when I was cleaning out the car, it was relatively clean, but he had left in there a bumper sticker, a magnetic bumper sticker that said, "I'm so gay, I can't even drive straight." And I thought it was awesome. And at first I thought about putting it on my car, but I drive pretty straight. So, so I was living in a very homophobic part of America. If you guys, Cheryl, I'm sure you know where Sholo, Arizona is. By the way, I'll show you right now. This was the car. Oh my God, my computer just went crazy. There we go. This was the car. So yeah, and I think maybe that was why I didn't put the magnetic sticker on this thing, because I don't think the bumper was steel. It wouldn't magnetize. Anyway, the point is, I was living in a very homophobic part of America, and I hated it. And so I went and put on my boss's I took this bumper sticker, this magnetic bumper sticker, and put it on his work truck. And this was a very homophobic Mormon town. And yeah, Snowflake, that part of it's heavily Mormon, super homophobic. And so I put this, it was a rainbow flag sticker, said, "I'm so gay I can't even drive straight." And put it on his flag bumper sticker, "I'm so gay I can't even drive straight." Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, it was exactly this one. Exactly this. And so he thought that his boss had put it on his work truck. So he went and put it on his boss's work truck. And then his boss found it, and he thought that his boss had put it on his work truck. And it took them every time this happened, the guy would drive around with it on his truck for like 2 or 3 weeks, while everybody else was like giggling, Anyway, so it was funny that bumper sticker migrated all over the Mormon area of Arizona for like years, I understand. So there you go. That's the funny story I'll leave you guys with. Slava Ukraine, everybody. Have a great night. До побачення.